Sunshine Roby with another reading. You might notice my voice is a little bit ropey. It's been a morning of very huge shifts, and this is perhaps me moving through a pre-full moon because it feels like full moon energies. Um, and it does happen sometimes when you are tuning, when you are bringing the messages, that sometimes you go through the shift a little bit before, and it does help then really integrate the message. And as I was going through this shift, I wasn't thinking about doing a video. At the moment, my head is pounding a little bit. I have ear ringing, and it's all these side effects of this huge shift that it literally just being through, but just kind of winding down. But I decided to take the cards, and I thought, I'll take the cards and then I'll read it tomorrow. But when I took each card, each word, each card represented the stages, the shift that I went, the words that came up in my mind when I was going through the shift, which then represented what I was going through. And I just felt like sitting and talking. I'm talking here to myself. This video is going unlisted, and then I'll decide when I put it live. So when it comes to you, it comes to you at a time that is the most needed for you. And allow it to resonate deep in your energy field with your own stories. This is an open reading for you to use the patterns of your own stories to understand where the timelines of your own stories are leading you. This is not for you to predict, but it's a validation of things you already know. For example, I went through that shift and I had different parts of the shift with words, which then gave me a message, and the words are here on each card. So the cards are only validating what I already been through, and hopefully I'm able to bring a message. And the end of the shift is this and this, the commander, and consciously completed. Okay, through the shift I was being shown I am the commander of my life. I am the commander of the versions of me. I am the commander of my authenticity, of my love, of my truth, of my lies, of my mistakes. I am the commander. There's no one else. Okay? There's no one else. If there's ever a time and a place and a situation and a feeling that you get, it's about how do we interpret that place, that situation to give us that feeling so that we can work with that and understand where we are coming from. The commander is the leader, and you are the leader of your feelings. When you can resonate with how we interpret our situation, and you can understand how you can interpret in different lenses, your emotions will be different, your reality will be different. So as you work through your stories, and perhaps you're visiting old stories that you thought you had healed, and we're talking perhaps stories about self-love, self-acceptance, being seen, being understood, all those self-worth, all those stories are valid and real. And perhaps we need to go through stages of different lenses to be able to achieve this lens of being consciously complete with yourself. And every story, every situation that has come through in your life, perhaps you have the same situation that came through your life several times. They were there for a few years, you overcame it, you came out of it, and then eventually you go back into it, you find yourself in the same situation, and perhaps you have questioned. And in spiritual community, we have to understand that cycles repeat itself because we have not learned a lesson. But there is a much bigger message than this in here. Perhaps we are going through the same cycles because that is extracting different aspects of ourselves for us to be able to understand the full complexity of that cycle. And each thing that has been extracted of you is a gift. It's something for us to appreciate. So perhaps let's talk about work cycles, okay, or relationship cycles. Perhaps you're entering a work cycle or relationship cycles that are very, very similar. They're presenting to you very, very similar, but the last time you entered, you came out with a better perspective about um, um, finance, for example, right? Perhaps something happened in that work or that relationship that gave you a huge perspective of finance, and you were able to then to come out of that cycle, making changes to suit you, to to help you. You are the commender. You are commending how from now on I'm going to deal with these financial issues when these situations come up. And then the similar situation comes up again. The cycle is there, and you think, why is it coming back? What have I not learned? And perhaps you enter the cycle without even realizing. And when you realize you are in that cycle, and then perhaps you are looking at the aspect of your career, your profession, your aspirations to do what you want to do, and that cycle brings you that aspect out of you for you to see. And then it might have been a good cycle, or maybe a troublesome cycle, but perhaps it's a cycle that have brought gifts for you to now go back and appreciate the simple gifts, right? You're presenting yourself with your own gifts every time you enter these cycles. And then you go back to that cycle a few times around, and then the next aspect is family. Then the next aspect is you, right? And sometimes it takes a few aspects for us to come to us, to come to the intimacy of ourselves. And when I talk about the intimacy, I'm not talking about sexual, I'm talking with the intimacy of knowing yourself deeply, of knowing yourself, your inner desires, and knowing yourself. How would you want to then relate with finance? How would you want to relate with career? What do you want to extract from that career that will serve you? What do you want to extract about the financial situation and experience you had that will serve you? And now you're stepping in the same cycle and you're thinking, I have the same choices, but what can I extract from these choices that perhaps is going to show who I am, is going to bring the qualities out of myself. And even though it seems like the same situation, and it might be perceived by others that you're doing the same cycle, going into the same choices, what they're not seeing is these lenses that you are acquiring to get deeper into the layers of yourself, the layers of your own self-love, right? You are entering again and going, no, but this time I choose this because it's going to bring the qualities that I want to work on myself. And then you have that choice because you are the commender. You are the commender here. You're now commending the choices that you are entering. And that's your own intimacy with your free will, your intimacy with your free choice. Okay, it's your intimacy with what is best and the highest for you, and not what other people think, not what other people are expecting of you. And this is empowerment. Yeah, this is empowerment. This is your inner fire blending with source fire. That is empowerment. And there is nothing more stable than being in this present moment. And the readings in the last few weeks has been driving us, bringing us to understand how much is important for us to be centered, to be grounded, to take that breath back into yourself before you make decisions, before you act, because this is where your answers are. Yeah. And for you to come to this level of intimacy, of understanding what my choice is, that what choice can I pick that will bring qualities out of me that I need in this now moment, and to be able to recognize that there's a certain quality that perhaps you need to work on. You're not going through through your life and things are hitting you anymore. You know, you're not just entering a cycle without realizing. You're actually now stepping outside of this cycle and going, I have free will and power and choice. And right now, what do I want to extract from this cycle for me? Right? You're not just going into the cycles randomly. You're not just going to the cycle and learning by mistakes and accidents and repetition. You actually now is stepping outside of this cycle. It's like standing outside of the roller coaster you just been and you paid for it. And now you're sitting outside watching other people going through it. And now you have a choice. Do I go again and enjoy the hell of it? Or do I go again and fear every corner again? And this is what you're doing. You're going to pay to go in a roller coaster, but you're going to feel it. All the emotions you're going to extract the joy, the happiness, the exhilaration, the passion, the playfulness to be in a roller coaster, right? You have a choice now. That's your free will. This card came, then connect to source, go within to discover what needs to be done, create a shift required to attract what you want. And we have been, if you've been following the reads, this oracle card reading since last month, all the messages are coming from all different aspects and angles, but all coming down to coming into yourself, coming into your heart, to find that space of truth within yourself. What's true to you can be a lie for others. And sometimes the truth of others is where we see our own lies. Yeah, and we need to be ready for that, because the more we step in our truth, we're going to be seeing these moments where we think, I didn't expect I was doing that. I didn't realize I was doing that. And perhaps you're doing out of a still a subconscious programming, but sometimes it's a slight adjustment of that programming, a slight adjustment of that limiting belief that perhaps is a more recent limiting beliefs. There's a lot of limiting beliefs that I acquired right at the beginning of my ascension journey that today I'm reviewing. I am adjusting, completely adjusting, and making it more true to me, because now I understand more of me. I understood what ascension journey should look like, but now I understand what is true to me, to my ascension journey. So all, even those recent limiting beliefs are being adjusted at this moment. And this is part of this huge shift. The only time I chose to pick a card in this random picking of cards was this one, the next card after connect to source, because this card is Christ consciousness, and this card came pilgrimage, number 22, onward steps. When I was having this huge shift this morning, I went into the word pilgrimage, and I was really surprised and happy that this card came up, because when I went into the pilgrimage, and if you think of the cycles I've laid out here before, that you enter sometimes the same cycles, but you're extracting different things each time that you enter these cycles, but you are recognizing, you're consciously realizing, perhaps even after the cycle ended, but you are appreciating. That's your own pilgrimage. Yeah, that's your own pilgrimage. Sometimes people will pay to go in a charity trip abroad to preach the words, or sometimes to build facilities for communities, to be more in touch with, the reality that's out there that's not the same as ours, and that's all brilliant, because it does bring lots of perspective, lots of learning. But we have to remember that our own life is a pilgrimage as well. That, our gifts are coming from all these cycles that we have set ourselves to repeat. We just need to be open to see that we are entering something similar, but it's now different. I always say that to everyone in a Patreon when they bring a situation that is repeating and they mention, I said, right, so this is a similar situation, what can you see it different? And it's just picking up that different layer that you can see, because that's your gift. That's something to be appreciative. And perhaps sometimes that gratitude comes later, and that's okay. That's okay. There's a time and a place for us to see and recognize things. Because, yeah, grace and gratitude, there's a time and a place for us to recognize all of this that we have been through, all the cycles, all the understanding about ourselves, all the empowerment, all the connection to source. We are the commander, yes, but there's a lot of things that, the universe can influence for us to help us. Our guides can help us. And are we open to that guidance? Are we open to that, to those changes, to those little shifts that are brought to us? On the reading, I think was yesterday, I talked about everything that we desire and ask to the universe can deliver like this. The difference is, for those that are receiving like this and those that are not, is because those that are receiving like this, they are preparing the grid to receive the package. Yeah, they're preparing the grid within themselves, within their house, their situation, their 3D, their 4D, their 5D, to receive the package. And the universe can only match the delivery with the grid. Yeah, and when it does, then we have gratitude. But how about having gratitude as you are going through your cycles, your own pilgrimage of your own life? And as I went through this huge shift, I did invite my shadow to the party. I did have a cuddle with my shadow, because this shift showed me a deeper layer of self-love. And again, our Patreon community, we are healing and merging our healing process with the moon phases. And in the Patreon community, I shared the energies of the new moon, the first quarter moon, and we're approaching, well, not yet, but we will be approaching the full moon. And we are merging our energies to be able to use the assistance of the moon phases to help us with our healing. And as we stepped in the theme of self-love, there's so much coming through. There's so much being opening within ourselves as a group that has been quite amazing. And this shift has shown me something that I didn't expect. I didn't expect something that I was doing, and nothing negative or anything like that, but it was limiting. It was limiting myself, nobody else. It was limiting only me. And I felt a bit injustice that I was limiting myself, because we've been on this ascension journey to get to know ourselves more, to have more self-love. And you actually build self-love routines, you build self-love character, you build self-love archetype in your way of being. You become more authentic. But then you realize there's something you're still doing. And you actually feels a bit injustice to self. Yeah. And that's me cuddling with my shadow. I was feeling a bit injustice to myself. It's like a tower moment that was difficult to see, but I saw it, I cuddled with it, and I had to free myself from that judgment and free myself to love. And look at the card coming right after I cuddle with my shadow. So the cards are representing exactly the shift I went through, and I'm trying to speak in general aspects, patterns, energies, so that you can not fit, but you can reflect in your own story with your own words, with your own stories, and see if you are falling into this little energy shift. Yeah. um, and again, I had to free myself of that. After the tower moment, I had to free myself of that judgment to find the inner love. And I stepped into that inner love, and I know there's still a lot of emotional healing to come through. I still feel that the shift hasn't finished. I'm not done with the shift, because I know the moon's going to bring this emotional healing. The full moon in snow, full moon is snow is about clarity, right? Of your inner essence. And I'm delighted to say that this is a snow full moon in February, and deep emotional healing's coming. My heart is ready to heal from past experiences, and you are willing to devote time and energy towards therapeutic care. And yes, we are. in a bracket of therapy in a Patreon community, because we can offer energy healing, we can offer EFT tapping, we can offer, you know, the basics of counseling, but most of all, we can offer a safe, loving space to um, be open and to heal. And this group held me today. You know, I was the one shifting, and they were leading me, they were guiding me, and I was totally in their hands and their love, and I could not have done the shift without them. So we are a group that we love in reciprocity. We help each other in reciprocity. And yes, I come with teachings and guidance, but I'm always open to be the student, and I'm always the student at the same time. And, you know, consciously complete, I said right at the beginning that this shift had me feel like and understand that I am the commander of my choices. And through my choices, through your choices, you can decide what you want to extract from that choice that will benefit you. So let's say, for example, a job. Perhaps it's a job that doesn't pay as much as another job in comparison, but one is going to bring so much playfulness and joy, and another one is going to bring more of a professionalism, steps, perhaps to grow the side of you know, your profession. But then you think back, and you go back into your own intimate space, in your own connection with source, and you ask the question, have I completed my journey in profession? Do I need more playfulness, or do I need more playfulness to then be able to complete my professional side of things? And it could be anything, it could be anything, but it's really asking that question. And if it doesn't have to be about the money, it might be the financial aspect that needs healing, and that will be the step to take, right? So I felt, in a way, at the end of the shift, my heart frequency was different, and I felt consciously complete in how I was going within myself, connecting to me and source. And I reflected back on the gifts of the cycles I've been through, and I reflected in the fact that I was limiting myself to make choices that was for the highest good of me. And as being a commander of me, I was able to understand that healing continues, but I'm free. I'm free to choose what's the highest good for me, with um, no pressure from society, from other people, from situations. Because remember, you're outside the roller coaster. You're not riding the roller coaster. You're seeing everything from above. You're seeing everything from above, and there's certain things there's just no need to ride. There's no need to ride the panic. There's no need to ride. Um, you've have probably done the panic riding before, and now you're going back in it, and you think, I really don't need to ride the panic, and that gives you that opportunity to see things from the outside of the roller coaster, from above, to then allow you to make those choices that are more compatible with your highest good. Because when we are in our inner authenticity, okay, we are ready in so much service to source and humanity, more than you ever know. And we feel that being a service to humanity, that we need to be actively on the 3D helping, and perhaps we do, but we need to be helping not out of disservice to self. We need to be helping after we have served ourselves, to being in full, consciously completeness, to then be able to share the most that they can receive. Because if we're not in that full service to ourselves, we're going to be in lack, and we won't be able to pass on enough healing. We won't be able to pass on enough healing. The energy of healing will probably come back to us to let us see what's lacking before we can do that step of helping. So it's very important to learn, practice, stabilize, and balance that moment of your inner intimacy, with your authenticity, with your love, um, with your passion, with your understanding of you. And you're always going to be assisting regardless whether you are in that space or not. You're always going to be that human nature, yeah. But understanding that every so often, sometimes you will need to recharge, you will need to come back and rebalance to go out again with more charge to assist others. And that when we are in this space of consciously completeness, this is when miracle healings happen around us for others, only by our presence, simply by our presence, and nothing more. And anything more we do is a bonus. It's a bonus. I feel that space needs a card, and that's my asymmetry pattern. So I'm going to fulfill that from the space of asymmetry. The sanctuary, harmony and balance, and joy and contentment. Exactly what I just said, and the card came out. It's right here on this bio here. I had shuffle earlier, I was just sitting there. I couldn't write this, okay? This is guided. This is a shift many are going through, and it's all about to how you resonate with your story, okay? This is beautiful. And I thank you for being here. I thank you for listening to the previous videos, and perhaps you're following that journey together. And I'm here with you. If you want to join one of our calls for free, please claim your free call on Patreon. Just need to sign up as a free member. You don't pay anything. You can claim your free call, have a feel what it looks like, and if you decide to join us, it's a small membership fee, and we meet every week, and we do go through these together. We go through this movement, navigation, shifting, healing, understanding, expansion of consciousness together. And this is unity. This is what Source has given us as empowerment. And if I can help you trust in your own empowerment, in your own truth, in your own leadership, in your own free of judgment and love, in your own emotional healing, if I can build that trust within yourself, you can do it on your own. You can do it as you move through the day, because we are always living the timelines all simultaneously. You have our routine because it's determined by, work, family, Gregorian calendar. Is we have a routine, but within that routine we're making magic. Perhaps you are genuinely running late for work, and you have that communication with the universe and say, help me get to work on time, and that traffic is leveled up for the highest good of all, and miraculously you make that trip with no issues, and you get there just in time. And this perhaps would never happen before, but we're here genuinely in our truth, right? We're here genuinely asking the highest good of all, which is unity, and the universe is saying, yes, I delivered this type of stuff, right? Here we go. And everyone in that space and moment on that motorway all managed to get to a destination in good timing. Yeah, and good timing doesn't mean on time. Good timing can even be a few hours late, but perhaps that is the perfect timing to get there, because they might have missed other things that they didn't need to experience, because we sat there and asked for the highest good of all. And that's your sanctuary, that's your magic, okay? That's your portal that you opened up right there when you sat in your car and you said, for the highest good of all. And because you sit in your truth, in your love, in your empowerment, you are the commander to open your own portal and ask the universe, ask source to deliver for the highest good of all. And those simple little requests shows you how powerful we all are, how magical we all are, living this Gregorian routine patterns of everyday life, but creating magic in between that. Do you want to learn more? Join us on Patreon. I look forward to meeting you. Thank you so much.